Okay, so let's go through the process of how you make this design. So you're going to start off with the thumbnail process, and this is your first assignment with thumbnails. So make sure that you review the tutorial I made for you. Contact me if you have any questions. The biggest challenge for students with thumbnails is just this idea that it's about quantity, not quality. I really do have students who spend far too long on thumbnails. They will decide that a thumbnail that I want them to do in 30 seconds actually takes 4 or 5 minutes. And that's really not going to serve you the best way. Thumbnails really are about quantity. The more ideas you create, the more problems you solve, the stronger your final design. This doesn't mean it doesn't matter. This doesn't mean rush through it. Absolutely not. Have a look at the thumbnail examples that I provided you with on Canvas. This just means that you are not trying to spend 10 hours doing thumbnails. Your goal is to solve the problem. And to do that, you just have to do a lot of thumbnails. So that's the biggest challenge for students. I think the other challenge, honestly, is rushing it too much. That's the other side of it. So don't rush, and also don't overwork. I guess that's my sort of best advice. Once you've completed your thumbnails, then you're moved to like the sketches for each of the 3 designs. So you're actually doing 3 designs, and then that will be arranged in their final design composition. So you're going to do some sketches for each of the 3 designs, and I would develop that final sketch with the marker so you can really see what it's going to look like. So once you've completed your 3 final sketches, then you're going to transfer those to Bristol. The easiest way to do this at home is just by taping your sketches to a window and then taping your Bristol to your sketches and transferring very carefully with a pencil the information from your sketches to your final Bristol paper. When you do any type of transfer like this, you always want to use the lightest pencil you have. So anything that's like an H or 2H will work. But if you only have B pencils, I don't remember exactly what number pencils you have in your kit. But if you only have B pencils, then the lower the number, the better. The problem with an H pencil is that H means hard. And so though the graphite is very light, if you actually push too hard, you will emboss the drawing into the paper. So even after you erase it, you will see an embossed line. So even with a hard pencil, draw lightly. Once you've transferred the sketches to the Bristol, carefully ink your design with markers. If you do have micron pens, you can also use micron pens. Micron pens are specific drawing pens. I don't put them in the kit anymore because just trying to cut down cost, and we use the markers quite a bit. But the problem with the markers is definitely that they bleed on the Bristol, and so the micron pens are nice to use. Any other type of high quality drawing pen will work, but definitely not a ballpoint pen. That's not gonna cut it. Try not to mix the micron pen with the marker. Pick or choose. The micron pen ink temperature will be different from the marker temperature, and that will show up. Of course, if you have a light table, you can use that instead of using the window. And sometimes I see students like using their tablet, and that's your choice. But you could definitely use your tablet, say, and get like an additional piece of glass and lay it on the top so that you don't scratch your tablet, or use like a glass table or something like that. But just remember, if you're using glass, to make sure that it's like really strongly secured so that it doesn't break when you're leaning on it to draw. So this design is really graded on visual design, but it's also really graded on quality. So watch your cleanliness and consider each of the marks you make. If you do make a mistake, you might have to restart. Just be really conscious of that in your timeline. So we've been talking about Gestalt in class. And this is all straight from the PDF. I'm just going to cover it with you. This project is going to strengthen your understanding through the exploration of those principles. Okay, so you're eventually going to have 3 designs composed on a single sheet of Bristol paper. Your goal, so you're going to create 3 final designs that represent a different Gestalt principle each and arrange them into a single composition. It has to either be a fruit, a flower, or an insect. So it can't be a person, it can't be a car, it can't be anything other than the fruit, a flower, or an insect. If you use an image from the internet, make sure it's copyright free. If you don't know how to do that, just go to Google, and then on images, there's a setting that allows you to find images that are Creative Commons. I just believe in using copyright-free images in our work because we otherwise are sort of using something somebody else created. I can't monitor that for you. It's just something I kind of like to challenge my students on. The easiest way to make a copyright-free image is just to take the picture yourself. That's always the easiest way to do that. So your directions, you're going to start with your form, whether it's a fruit, a flower, or an insect, and then in your sketchbook, which is the dotted paper that you have, create a series of thumbnails that explore the 3 principles you're interested in working with. Use a pencil. For each of your 3 designs, you're going to create the following: 10 small thumbnails at about 1.5 inches by 1 inches, 5 medium thumbnails at like 3 by 2, and 2 large thumbnails at something like 6 by 4. Think about the boundary box of each thumbnail. So that's like the little box you would draw around each little drawing. You know, if you are creating a rectangular space, which you are, your boundary box needs to be the same shape as your final space. Otherwise, you'll work out one composition, and then when you go to apply it to a different space, it's not going to work. So be considerate of how you're going to build your boundary boxes for your thumbnails. Y'all, with your thumbnails, they don't have to be perfect sizes in terms of like 1.5 inches by 1. The idea with the dotted paper is that it's easier to draw straight lines, so that should help you to work a bit faster on creating those boundary boxes. So the final sketches are your, you're going to take one of each of your large thumbnails, and you're going to pick the one you like the most, and then you're going to develop that drawing at about approximately 6 inches by 4 inches. And you can still do that on the sketchbook paper, but I would go ahead and go in with marker and draw it out so that you can see it. So once you're ready to submit your final sketch and thumbnails in Canvas for me to see, you're going to put them into a Word document and upload them for me. And then after you've done that, go ahead and transfer your 3 designs to a sheet of Bristol paper using a pencil. Again, same thing, use the lightest pencil you have, make any changes you want to make in the composition prior to the transfer. Ink your designs, and then take a good high quality JPEG, place it in a Word document with the thumbnails, and upload that to the site. I have a logic here, which is that I want the thumbnails uploaded first, and then I want the thumbnails and sketches in the Word document with your final so I can see all the work together. So here's a little checklist. I find that they can be very helpful. You know, especially like when we get to a lot of thumbnails, because like you need to track the amount of thumbnails you've done. So you've got 3 designs that land up on the final product. Each of those 3 designs has their own set of thumbnails. So 10 small thumbnails, 5 medium thumbnails, 2 large thumbnails, and then the final sketch. So go ahead and use this if you find it helpful to help you track your work.